It's an exciting time for the Madison Public Library. They're celebrating 150 years of service this year, and they're not slowing down anytime soon. They've got new projects, programs, and even locations in the works with the Imagination Center at Rindall Park. Your support today will help Madison build even better libraries for future generations. Thanks to a $150,000 matching gift from several loyal donors, your gifts before December 31st will double your impact on the library's future. Donate today. Go to mplfoundation.org/donate. Madison Community Foundation helps donors support the community and the causes you care about most. With philanthropic expertise and personalized guidance, Madison Community Foundation makes it easy to achieve charitable giving goals. Whether you choose a specific field of interest, open a donor-advised fund, or create a legacy that will last for generations, Madison Community Foundation is here to help every step of the way. Make your gift today. Learn more at madisongives.org/giving. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, it's Thursday, so of course it's time to dish on Madison's food scene. And did you know some of Madison's most inventive eats are hiding in plain sight on the east side? I'm talking about the many offerings at Garver Feed Mill. With me today to uncover some of these hidden gems is Bryant Moroder, who's part of the development team at Garver. Bryant, welcome to CityCast Madison.
Thanks for having me, Bianca.
Oh my goodness, this is so fun. You and I are sitting down in Garver Feed Mill right now in Kosha Spa, soaking up sunlight and exposed bricks and all of the magic that is Garver Feed Mill. And you've promised to give me a lowdown on the food that you can find here, because I think there's more here than folks really know. So folks might think of Garver as like an event space, and maybe they've stopped in for a slice of Ian's Pizza. But what are some of the food options you all have at Garver these days?
Well, it kind of depends on which era you came to Garver, right? So if you think back to the early 1900s when it was first operated as the U.S. Sugar Factory, it was a beet factory. So there, in its heyday, 300 farmers working inside this building producing 10 million pounds of sugar. So had we been here in the early part of the 20th century, that's what we would have had. And then if we were here in the middle part of the 20th century, we probably would have had some feed more appropriate for livestock. So that was part of Garver's kind of longest era of existence, the Garver Feed Mill, where it gets its namesake. It was a really important building to the agricultural community and economy here in Madison. And in fact, that's why this is a historic building, is not because of its architecture, which I would argue we'd all think is very unique and special to Madison, but it's because of its contribution to the agricultural economy in this area. And there's a lot more history we can certainly cover if you want to today. But then you bring it to present day. So we have 15 different organizations under one roof, ranging from catering company to kombucha factory to a coffee roaster run by a Canadian who used to be a bookkeeper. So lots of variety of different options here. Some of will get a chance to taste and experience firsthand.
And something that's really cool is y'all have like wholesale businesses here where you can get like your products at home, like Nasala Kombucha and Sitka's Seafood Market. Like, I didn't even realize there's so many products here that I bring into my daily. Like, I signed up for the Sitka's Seafood Market subscription, and I'm a huge fan. It's kind of exciting. I didn't know that was all happening here.
Right here in Madison. The salmon comes from the West Coast, but
right. And the salmon that grows in the back now.
Right. The headquarters are here. So, yeah, when we started this project in 2013, our original vision was to create up space for really second stage food businesses. We recognize that Madison has done a phenomenal job of supporting the small businesses through farmers markets and incubator spaces, but a lot of these businesses didn't have homes where they could really establish themselves and grow into a place that they could really design for their needs, right? A lot of these small startup businesses that we all know and love and cherish in Madison, they may have started in someone's basement or in some shared kitchen. But we recognized there was a space, a need for these types of companies to grow and to expand and to be more present in Madison. And so that was kind of our original vision behind Garver. It has evolved certainly over the years. But very early on, we were very fortunate to get Sitka Salmon, or Sitka Seafood Market, as it's now called. You're familiar with the CSA model, right? You get the vegetables delivered to your doorstep.
Yeah, you get a box of fish.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Exactly. And it's like
And
the freshest fish.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful stuff. And the whole idea is basically you cut out the middleman. So you were paying for product that most of that dollar is going directly to the fishermen. So they're able to have a livelihood. Then on the other end of the building, like you said, a quarter of our building is Nasala Kombucha. So one of the first craft kombucha breweries in the country, started by two women, Vanessa and Ala, many, many years ago, I believe in the basement of the Weary Traveler, which is also where one of our Calliope ice cream also started as well too. So they started the company and then eventually has new ownership, but they are on the other end of the building. They make a variety of different kombucha products. Really, I'm probably being a little biased, but I think it's some of the best kombucha that I've ever had. They don't sell directly out of Garver, except for I think they maybe have one pickup date. But as you go through Garver, you can buy it at the lounge. I believe Ian's Pizza has it on tap. I think you can buy it at the coffee shop. And I think if you're doing yoga at Perennial, I think they also have cans there too. So plenty of opportunities outside of the factory to buy kombucha.
Yeah, and they were a trendsetter. Like they were an originator, and it's exciting to see how that market has grown, but to have that here. And then not only do you have these great, businesses, you also have the Reap Food Group, which is looking to get food to people, this sort of quality food to folks who might not be able to afford it. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, really kind of comes full circle here. And the work that they're doing in our community is so essential to help developing our regional food systems. I've known the folks from Reap for 20 plus years, and actually originally when we started this project, I had reached out to them and said, hey, we wanted you to be a part of this. Didn't happen for a variety of reasons, but then a couple of years ago, space opened up and here they are doing their good work. And we're so grateful to have Reap and their staff here.
And the next one I'm going to bring up is making me start to think that you have a touch on almost every food happening in Madison under this roof, which is, I know there's snow outside on the ground, but Garver also hosts the Winter Dane County Farmers Market, which is one of the biggest food events in Madison, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that? And is it the same vendors that happen on the square during the summer months?
Yeah, this was quite frankly, one of my dreams when we built this project. I don't know if you remember, if you were back in Madison, the Dane County Farmers Market used to be at the Senior Center downtown, and they had a great little brunch, and it was nice, but, you always felt there was a lot more potential, especially coming off of the square, where they had, 100 or so vendors. And so they reached out to us and said, hey, we're thinking about expanding the winter market. We'd like to tour your venue. And convincing farmers to change, to do something different is not easy, right?
And for good reason, they got systems.
But I think, exactly. But I think they understood the history of this building, right? And what it meant for the community agriculturally and the potential. And I think the spirit of Garver just resonated with them. And so they made the decision to move here from the Senior Center. That was right before COVID, of course, which is right when we kind of had opened just a year or two earlier. So that was a challenge given our focus on community. But since then, it's grown and thrived. They've expanded now once in the building. I think they have about 50 vendors that are here every Saturday. That's January through the beginning of April from 8 to noon. And it's just a wonderful community activity. You've got your local chefs that you all recognize that are here in the morning, but you got a lot of families, a lot of out-of-towners. So it is the Dane County Farmers Market that is on the square. It's the same people that organize it. So we're effectively partners with them. It's not our market, it's their market. So if you're interested in vending, you got to go through their process. Don't contact me. And yeah, it's just a wonderful, offering, and to be able to provide a space for these farmers, many of who without this income would have to take second jobs. And I've heard that directly from many of them that, because of the success of the late winter farmers market here at Garver, that they've been able to sustain their livelihood farming throughout the year, which is really wonderful.
Wow, that's so important. And it's increasingly important. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and perhaps you're looking to give some support to wonderful local institutions. What's more worthy of your care than our Madison Public Library? It's an exciting time for the library as this year marks their 150th anniversary. They've got new projects, programs, and even new locations in the works, like the Imagination Center at Rheindal Park. Your support today will help Madison build even better libraries for future generations. And thanks to a $150,000 matching gift from several loyal donors, your gifts before December 31st will double your impact on the library's future. Get in on the giving. Donate today. Go to mplfoundation.org/donate and help support our libraries. That's mplfoundation.org/donate. Four Seasons Theater presents The Hello Girls, a new American musical. It's an uplifting new musical inspired by history that chronicles the story of America's first women soldiers. These intrepid heroines served as bilingual telephone operators on the front lines. They helped turn the tide of World War I and pave the way for future generations of women in the armed forces. Ready to feel empowered? The Hello Girls runs December 11th through the 21st. That's Thursdays and Fridays at 7:30 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays at 2 p.m. at the Playhouse at Overture Center. Plus, there are pre-show lectures, Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. and Sundays at 1 p.m. in the Playhouse lobby. This is a remount production from spring of 2024, y'all, that played to sold-out audiences, so you know it's good. Learn more at fourseasonstheater.com. Tickets are available starting at $25 through the Overture Center box office in person, by phone at 608-258-4141, and at overture.org.
Well, it's lovely that there's a through line that you guys are trying to honor what this was and what it can be today and have the sustainable through line. I do want to dig into the history of this space because Garver wasn't always like this. I mean, now you walk in and it feels very hip, and before there were beets everywhere, there was food for livestock. And yeah, can you tell us just a little bit more about the structure and some of the cool historical tidbits?
Yeah. So as the story goes, back in the early 1900s, there was a group of business folks. They called themselves the 40,000 Club. And the reason they called themselves the 40,000 Club is they wanted to grow Madison from a population from 10,000 to 40,000. And so how do you grow?
It's going to be hard.
Right? Quadruple. So how do you do that? You invite industry, right? Economic development, jobs come, people come, families establish themselves, population grows, right? So there was some efforts going on at the university that indicated that sugar beets were going to be the next big thing. And so this group organized a banquet with 100 local farmers. So can you imagine that? A bunch of farmers sitting around having food, and whatever happened at that meeting convinced enough of them that this was going to be the next big thing in agriculture. And so they were able to get commitments from farmers. That group, the 40,000 Club, went on to become our local Chamber of Commerce. Interestingly enough.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So early when we opened up, they came here and did a little tour, and we talked about that history. So it was then the U.S. sugar factory. In its heyday, there was about 10 million pounds of sugar coming out of this facility. And so it was humming along. And then eventually in the 1920s, the tariffs and other economic things happened, and that business failed. And so along came Mr. Garver, James Garver, who was also affiliated with the university. And his background was in trying to basically make more nutritious farm feed. At the time, farmers were really limited to their herd size by the amount of stuff they could grow on their land. Well, Mr. Garver figured out a process by which he could make the feed more nutritious, and effectively Garver and places like it became a place where the farmers could now come to and purchase this product, and now they could grow their herds exponentially. So in many respects, Garver's place in history was, helping create today's modern agriculture system, for better or worse, right? And the really fascinating thing, you talked a little bit about structure, is if you look at the original Garver sugar beet factory, it's 5 stories. So you may have seen the picture at like Monty's, Blue Plate, or Old Fashioned. We have a couple pictures of it here. And that 5-story building, which was built in 1906, was taken down by Mr. Garver to its present day height. So when we restored the building, we obviously couldn't rebuild the big factory. But what we discovered throughout Garver, and there's a little tidbit for your listeners as they walk through the building, you'll notice things that don't seem right for a building of this nature. And by that I mean there's I-beams that are cut off at like 10 feet, or there's bricked in archways that are like 5 feet tall, or the atrium where we have a lot of our events, the market, the windows are like down at your knee height. All of that doesn't make sense from like a height perspective. Well, what we discovered through the development process that was with Mr. Garver, when he took off that old brick from the original building, we said, what would he do with all that old brick? That's, it's a lot of material. Well, for whatever reason, I think his process and probably affordability, he actually buried the brick underneath the building or put it on the floor of the building and then put a new slab on top of it. So he effectively raised the grade of the interior building by 6 or 7 feet, which would explain all of those nuanced, interesting things that I just described throughout the building. He simply took the brick, buried it, and just raised the grade as a means of disposal, and changed the interior. Yeah, and changed the interior. And we found it throughout the whole site. Actually, we had to put in new utilities. We pulled up old railroad track. This whole building used to be served by, I think it was 8 spurs at one time.
Oh wow.
So if you look outside on our patio, we have something called bollards, which are those poles that stick out of the ground that prevent trucks from coming onto the building, or our bike racks. Those are all made out of the old railroad.
Oh my goodness.
And we pulled out of the
This place
building.
is like a treasure trove of history. And it is just so wild to me to be sitting here with you. You were a part of this process before anyone thought that this building was going to make it. Like, this building actually could have been torn down. And it sounds like there is crazy history to keep it that you were telling us as, we walked in here for this interview today. And I don't know if you can share that with us briefly, but like when you're talking about everything that was done here and now what's thriving, all of the things that we set up at the beginning of this conversation, it's actually kind of a marvel that this is here and it's really thriving today.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of effort. It was on the verge of getting torn down. I think 95% of people who walk through the door maybe don't appreciate that history. And we try to tell that story. That's part of the reason we wanted to have a conversation with you today. We have pictures of the building when it was vacant for 20 years. But yeah, it was really in bad shape. The original intention with Garver after it closed in the 80s was that Old Brick Botanical Gardens would expand here. And for whatever reason, that really never happened. So the building just fell into deferred maintenance. And then all of a sudden, trees started growing out of the roof and bricks started falling or failing. And, you can imagine 20 years of being exposed to Wisconsin weather does a lot to a building. And so it was really the neighborhood, the community who really recognizes the story of this building and its contribution to the East Side's economy and to the agriculture community that really stepped up and said, we've got to figure out a way to save this building. And so they hired a local photographer, Zane Williams, to take portraits of the building. They did a nice little photo essay, and that turned into a postcard campaign. And then one thing led to another, enough local instigators.
And the photographs are really compelling. They're stunning, and people can come look at them in the space. Yeah.
Yep. We always try to tell that story and preserve that history. And that was enough to kind of lead to the effort that kind of got us involved. And, the story goes, we were kind of looking to do something as part of the revitalization of the East Washington corridor, and our company, Baum Revision, which is based in Chicago, but I'm here in Madison, as you might be able to tell. We have a history of saving kind of historic buildings and taking on very challenging projects. And so back in 2013, we came here. I remember it was a snowstorm in November with the city preservationist and the alder. And, we took one look at the building. We said, well, this is what we think you should do with it, City of Madison. And they're like, well, why don't you guys do it? So that started the process in 2013. It was a 6-year journey from that point to get it open. But yeah, we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish here. The community aspect of it is something we're very proud of. The fact that we've got 15 businesses under one roof and over 180 employees that work throughout the building.
There's so much to be proud of. And I do want to say, looking at those photographs and seeing the history, I have a little history here, and that back like 2012, so before everything turned around, the fact that this was like a building that was crumbling. My sister and I were asked to be models for the Good Style vintage shop.
Oh, sure.
And we did photographs that I still have up on my wall, like outside of Garver, like trying to look at this like decaying building, but like beautiful, but like in disarray. And now Good Style shop leads and throws the, Midwest Vintage Flea, which is massive here, twice a year. So it's cool to see this space be saved. And I know people who grew up up in Madison, like have so many of their own stories and this history. And yeah, it's really, truly incredible spot. And you can see those like agro-industrial roots throughout the building. Like there's so much more to get into there. And I think the next thing I want to hear about is the community, like what Garver's role is in the community today.
A lot of credit goes to our tenants, who just do an amazing job. They're just community organizations, all locally owned, and understand that, creating a space like this with the amount of area that we have has created a special opportunity. So we've really tried intentionally to be a place for all people. The kinds of events that we offer, I think, are very approachable, very affordable. And, we try to build off of, kind of where the energy is, whether it's food. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about that today. It's become a place that a lot of kids hang out, whether it's Ian's Pizza or role play with their 300 plus board games and boba tea. That's probably something that has most surprised me. I guess in retrospect, I shouldn't be, but it's a place where a lot of families like to spend time with their kids. We've embraced that. We now have a thing called Parent-Child Happy Hour.
Cute.
Which kind of creates a space for kids to play and mom and dad or parents to, enjoy themselves at the same time. But we also have, I think just by the nature of a lot of entrepreneurs in the building who have families of their own thinking like, how do we make this a family-friendly space? And then by nature, it becomes a community space and a third space, right? So in many respects, we've been, intentional about that. I think a lot of it also just has to do with finding great partners. You mentioned Midwest Vintage Flea. We talked about the Dane County Farmers Market, Sauce Night Market. We worked with a lot of musicians to do, musical events here. Madison's blessed to have a lot of great people, a lot of great organizations trying to do good things. We've simply just tried to create a platform for them to be able to do those things that they do best, and we were fortunate to have the space to offer that.
And it's a real success story. And personally, I have a certain form of community here at Garver Feed Mill at Perennial Yoga. Like that place has offered like a spiritual balm to me and a lot of people that come here. I'm going to shout out the yoga teacher, Amy Heater. I don't want her classes to get more full.
Yep.
And, we're sitting here in Kosha Spa. I've come here for healing. Like, I really think that there's a lot of community being built here. And I mean, I know that you know it and I know it too. So
yeah, it's something we're very proud of. And, I mentioned earlier, our original vision was to kind of make this like a food forward kind of place. And we certainly have done that. But wellness has also become a big part of how things, operate here, whether it's the yoga studio, the spa, Butte Salon next door, Reap Food Group, the food health thing that's very obviously connected. And so it was kind of a natural fit. Food doesn't make a lot of sense usually on the second floor of building. So that's kind of where we deviated a little bit. But yeah, the community of health and wellness, people and practitioners is really, amazing here. And, Perennial's got a huge following. I'm always seeing people here early in the morning, on the weekends. Kosha, obviously, they got some great recognition last year or the year before from National Geographic as one of the top, I think, wellness or spa destinations in the world. So yeah, it's been great to be, part of that and to see these businesses be able to take the vision of their founders and really, become successful. And to be a part of that is feels very special and rewarding.
Yeah. And just shouting out Shilpa Sankaran, the owner of Kosha. We're in her space right now. She's been on the show talking about how to heal yourself with Ayurvedic medicine. And also I know that something that she does here is a community for people who are, surviving cancer. And like, it's a little like kind of scholarship and helping people come in and have a home cooked meal in this space. And I'll just shout out Kosha's home cooked meals here. They really feel like full of love. And also they have a really good golden milk tea that I know that we're going to try later. And we'll talk about that more, but you can buy some and take it home. And I have some at home. So I'd be drinking that at home. So there's so much to love. And it feels like you guys have really found your niche, and your niche being, I think, nourishing. That's the word I'm going to give to you guys. Nourishing. Go back to James Garver and like making that feed more nourishing, and here with the spiritual nourishing, the food, everything that's happening is a really beautiful thing. And, as you look towards the future, what's next for Garver and what exciting things are y'all cooking up?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Something that we just brought back, reintroduced, is brunch at Garver.
Nice.
So yes, very excited about that. So down in the lounge, every market that we have from here on out, hopefully we'll have brunch service. And then I believe every Sunday. So I don't know what time brunch service is. I want to say like 9 o'clock in the morning till maybe 2. That's our in-house caterer, Starbound, Chef James. Just some phenomenal plates they're putting out right now. So I'm super excited about that. And then looking ahead, I think, we've been a little bit public about this, but I would love to see, we're out of building space. So where do we go next? We go outside. I'd love to see us collaborate with the city of Madison and build a permanent food truck park on the North Platte here, just adjacent to Garver. That's going to require some collaboration, but we've already kind of laid the groundwork with our Food Truck Fridays in the summer, and those have been very successful. We have live music. We have, I think, 4 or 5 food trucks for the last 2 summers. It's been really fun, but I think Madison needs, deserves, and wants more food truck access. And so I'm hoping that can happen. Like I said, it's going to take some collaboration with different partners, but that's something that we're starting to think about and hopefully work towards and be able to make an announcement in the next year or 2.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going to go on over there. I'm like, are they making more of a parking lot? That's definitely, I think there is an appetite for that. So this is super exciting for what's coming. And before I let you go, the holidays are on our minds, right?
Yeah.
It is time for jolly season. And I know y'all are hosting some holiday markets. So what's coming up for holiday markets at Garver, and what can folks expect?
Yeah. So it is market season. We've gone from wedding season to market season. So we're either in one or the other. And now we're in market season. We just got done with Sauce Night Market and Craftacular. And then markets are Garver Holiday Market, and then the Garver Last Minute Market for anyone who really needs to get a gift at the last market. And then that rolls into Dane County Farmers Market, which starts into January and goes through April. So I think in total, I counted once, we have over, between the 6 different markets, we have like 220 different small business vendors. And so there's just really something for everyone.
That's major.
It's, talk about economic impact, really with the smallest of small businesses. So we're looking forward to that. We'll have, like I said, brunch served, coffee, Ian's Pizza, you name it. At Garver will be buzzing this time of year for sure.
Bryant, thank you so much for your time. And you and I know that we're about to go do a taste test, but that component of this conversation is going to be going to Instagram. So if y'all want to see us trying some Garver Feed Mill hidden gems, go check us out on Instagram at CityCast Madison. Bryant, thank you for this conversation.
My pleasure. Thanks, Bianca.
That's Bryant Moroder from the development team at Garver Feed Mill. Again, check out our Instagram, CityCast Madison, for the Garver Feed Mill taste test. And if you've been listening to the podcast this week, you've been hearing highlights of local nonprofits. I've loved sharing information about how to give this giving season. And if you missed some of the shout outs, keep an eye on your email inboxes tomorrow for our Giving Shared newsletter. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, now's a great day to sign up. The link's in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. Don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this episode with someone who loves a renovation glow up? I mean, what's happened at Garver Feed Mill is pretty spectacular. Alrighty, we'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, take good care and thanks for listening.